At 77, one of rock's greatest guitarists finally spoke his mind. Jimmy Page, the mastermind behind Led Zeppelin's thunderous riffs, haunting melodies, and mystical aura, revealed the truth that fans never expected. For decades, he guarded the band's legacy with quiet pride. But now, with time softening the edges of rock's wildest era, Page admitted that there were a few Zeppelin songs he secretly hated. Not because they weren't successful, but because of what happened behind the scenes, the chaos, the compromises, and the ghosts that lingered long after the final note faded. This is Legend Uncovered, and today we dive deep into the 5 Led Zeppelin songs Jimmy Page wishes he could forget. 1. The Crunge. When Led Zeppelin released Houses of the Holy in 1973, the crunge was meant to be playful, a funky, offbeat experiment inspired by James Brown grooves. But for Jimmy Page, it became a personal nightmare. He once joked that it sounded like a jam that went nowhere. Recording it was frustrating. Bonham's quirky rhythms clashed with Plant's tongue-in-cheek vocals, and Page struggled to find a guitar tone that didn't sound awkward. Fans were confused, critics were harsher, and even within the band it became an inside joke. Years later, Page admitted that while Zeppelin's creativity had no limits, the crunge might have pushed too far into parody. In his own words, it was fun to make, painful to hear later. Fault. Hot Dog. By 1979, Zeppelin was changing. Tragedy had struck. The energy of earlier years was gone. During the In Through the Outdoor sessions, Page found himself detached as Plant and Jones took more control. Hot Dog, a country-style track, was the clearest sign of that divide. Jimmy never connected with it. He once confessed that he didn't see the point of making something so light-hearted when the band was struggling to stay together. To him, the song felt like a parody of American rock, and not in a good way. He hated the polished sound, the studio tricks, and the lack of the raw edge that defined Zeppelin. When asked years later about Hot Dog, Page simply sighed. That one was never truly us. One picore. D'yer Mak'er. Few Zeppelin songs split opinions like D'yer Mak'er. Intended as a reggae-inspired experiment, it became one of their biggest hits and one of Jimmy's least favorites. In the studio, Page struggled to make it sound authentic. He respected reggae deeply, but felt Zeppelin's version missed the groove. He later revealed that it just didn't sit right. It lacked the soul and tension that made their heavier tracks so powerful. Robert Plant liked it for its playfulness, but Page always heard it as a missed opportunity. Even when it topped charts, he couldn't listen without cringing. He didn't hate the idea, just the final product. As he once put it, "We were trying to nod to Jamaica, but ended up somewhere else entirely." Spunkum. Fool in the Rain. On paper, Fool in the Rain was a clever, complex track. It had Bonham's Latin shuffle, Plant's yearning lyrics, and a playful energy unlike anything in Zeppelin's earlier work. But for Jimmy Page, it symbolized something darker, the end of an era. By the time they recorded it, the band wasn't really a band anymore. Page was battling exhaustion, addiction, and grief. He later said the song didn't feel like Zeppelin. He respected its structure. Jones's piano work was brilliant, but emotionally he couldn't connect. To him, it marked the band's disconnection. "We were all in different rooms, musically and personally," he admitted. For fans, it's a masterpiece. For Page, it's a memory of how far they had drifted apart. All My Love. This one is bittersweet. All My Love was Robert Plant's tribute to his late son, a song filled with emotion and heartbreak, but Jimmy Page struggled with it. He respected the pain behind it, but musically he thought it leaned too far into pop. He even said he wished they'd recorded it differently, with more grit, more Zeppelin soul. He never performed it live, calling it too personal, too polished. For fans, it's one of the band's most emotional moments. For Page, It's a song that carried too much weight to ever feel comfortable playing again. In the end, Jimmy Page never truly hated Led Zeppelin. He just hated the moments that pulled them away from what made them great. Every riff, even the ones he regretted, shaped the legend that still echoes across generations. And that's the truth only time could reveal. Because sometimes, even the songs we hate are the ones that define us. This is Legend Uncovered. Thanks for watching.
Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon.